Hi there and welcome to the channel. This video is a response to a comment I received on another Godot video. In this video I'll show two oversimplified examples of connecting an animated sprite to a slider control. In this first example we'll manipulate a sprite's animation frame using a slider, and in the second example we'll start and stop the animation and have it change the slider for us. In this first example we'll look at the slider value change signal and use it to update the animation. First, let's look at the animated sprite and the sprite frames it contains. We can see here that there are 4 frames in this default animation. We can preview the animation directly in the editor. As the preview animation is playing, we can see the frame number on the right side of the editor. So we have 4 frames. Let's look at the slider and make sure it works with those 4 frames. We'll do this by setting the slider tick count property to 4. Now each tick in a slider represents 1 frame in the animation. Next, let's look at the signal that'll connect the slider to the animated sprite. We've already added the signal here, we're using the value changed signal. As the name implies, this signal is sent every time the slider position is changed. As we only have one scene in this project, we already connected it to that scene. Let's look at the code for the signal. This is the function that's connected to the signal. You can see it's connected to something because it has a green marker to the left of the method name. When the signal is fired, this function will get the current slider position value. We'll use that position value to set the current frame property of the animated sprite. Now, when we move the slider, we'll see the animated sprite change as well. Let's see it in action. You can slide the control left and right, and the correct animation frame is displayed. You can click on any tick in the slider as well to jump directly to that frame. Okay, let's look at the second example. In this example, we'll do the same as the first example, but we'll expand on it so that the animation controls the slider this time. We have a slider and an animated sprite just like in example 1. Remember from before there were only 4 frames in the animation and 4 steps on the slider. But this time we'll have a start and stop button that will control the animation. When the animation changes frames, it will automatically set the slider value to match. The start and stop buttons will allow us to play and pause the animation using GDScript code. To connect the animation to the slider, we'll use the animated sprite's frame changed signal. Here's the code that runs when the signal fires. We get the animation frame number, and we use that value to set the slider value. You can also see the code that starts and stops the animation. We're using the button up signals to connect the buttons to the scene code. Let's see it in action. Like before, we can adjust the slider by hand, and the sprite animation will change with it. But now, we can start the animation using the start button, and each time the animation changes frames, it will adjust the slider for us. We can pause the animation using the stop button, and the animation will pause even if it's not complete yet. Playing the animation will resume the process, and the slider will begin to update again. And that's 2 simple ways you can connect a slider to an animated sprite or vice versa. Hope this helps, and please let me know if you have other ideas for beginner Godot videos you'd like to see on the channel. Thanks for watching, and happy game developing!